What is up, my brothers and sisters? For the longest time, I've been talking about the frequencies and the gyration you can feel in the air and the ground and the waves and for a long time, I was saying that when you that there is a frequency in the air that causes a physical effect, and you can see here these clouds right here. Because I showed an example with, like, when they play a frequency through speakers and then they put it to like some water, that it'll change and create a design, a repetitive design, almost like a wave of energy. This wave of gravity energy travels through your house, the ground, the sky. It goes through everything. For humans, you cannot perceive this range of frequency for the most part. For some reason, I can, and sometimes it even gets so strong that it affects me physically, so I know that people are affected physically. Now, there's no proof to this, but one can correlate these type of effects before and after earthquakes. Now, they say there's no way to predict earthquakes, but I think quite the contrary. So it says earthquake weather is a type of weather popularly believed to precede earthquakes. Now, this is a new type of research, right? Because there's really no evidence in this, but quite the contrary, I believe that, quite differently. It says, since ancient times, the notion that weather can somehow foreshadow coming seismic activity has been the topic of much discussion and debate. Robinson described it as earthquake weather, as the most pseudo-scientific methods of predicting earthquakes. Aristotle proposed in the 4th century BC that earthquakes were caused by winds trapped in caves. Small tremors were thought to have been caused by the air pushing on the cavern roofs and the large ones of the air breaking the surface. Now, I've said this before by showing it on the radar, because it's almost like the earth is burping or farting or something of that nature, right? Every day I can show you the explosions. This is why people are hearing booms besides fireballs. See, it also says right there, a later theory stated that earthquake occurred in calm, cloudy conditions and were usually preceded by strong winds, fireballs, and meteors. A modern theory proposes that certain cloud formations may be used to predict earthquakes. However, this idea is rejected by most geologists. I don't understand why, because it's all a form of energy, right? It cannot be created nor destroyed. So whatever's happening in the ground can also happen in the sky. And then when celestial objects also play a factor, this can also affect weather, storms. It even may look like lasers. Yeah, lasers are coming from the sky, because they can damn well come from the ground, right? And I'll show you here in a second. So, earthquake cloud. Are clouds claimed to be signs of imminent earthquakes that have been described in Antiquary in chapter 32 of Brihat Samhita. An Indian scholar of Varahamihira discussed a number of signs and warnings in the earthquake. Extraordinary clouds occurred a week before the earthquake. In modern times, some scientists have accurately predicted occurrences by observing the clouds. However, these claims have very little support in the scientific community. So with all that being said, it says right here, some recent research has found a correlation between the sudden relative spike in atmospheric temperatures 2 to 5 days before an earthquake. It is speculated that the rise of this causes the movement of ions, which can also create lightning, laser beams, and ball lightning. And I've been saying all this stuff for a long time. I've recorded it several times. I've shown it. I've explained it. My lamp was gyrating. There's balls of literally electricity, like ball lightning, coming from out of the ground and heading to the sky. So, why not? The sky and the ground are correlated, right? So it says, rather than the earthquake being caused by any change in atmospheric conditions, furthermore, this relative temperature change would not cause any single recognizable weather pattern that should be labeled as earthquake weather. And this is probably true. Then it also says, which I think is quite interesting right here, At the 2011, did you hear that just pop? See, there's like an energy. You can always hear it in like plastic water bottles. You can always hear it in the walls. It always sounds like somebody's throwing pebbles at my window. It's like a form of energy that travels through the air. That was a good example. So, anyways, at the 2011 American Geophysical Union fall meeting, announced apparent temporal connection between tropical cyclones and earthquakes. So that hurricane that went over California and then there was an earthquake, they said was not correlated. Well, quite the contrary if you look up and research this evidence. In April 2013, a team of seismologists at the Georgia Institute re-examined data from the 2011 Virginia earthquake using pattern recognition software and found a correlation between Hurricane Irene's nearby passage and an unexpected rise in the number of aftershocks. Boom! So you remember those ripple type of clouds we just witnessed, right? You know, and I've been saying this for a long time. I've been showing it on the radar. And, well, let's see what I can show y'all right here, because very recently I was able to provide some of this evidence, and here we are. So I put it waves of energy powering up. This I can prove with empirical evidence and much observation, and voila, we have gravity waves, earthquake energy. And I've been showing this for a long time. So I am not incorrect when it comes to this. You know, I provided evidence and whatnot, and, you know, so one can correlate this to this phenomena, right? And, you know, when it comes to laser beams and stuff like that and plasma from the sky, you know, like earthquakes and like volcanoes cause a lot of, well, energy. That's coming from the ground. That's not lightning. You're going to tell me a laser beam shot down and shot all these little, right? Like, that makes no sense. So, see if we can find some other stuff. Earthquake lights. See if we can get this going right here. Earthquake light appears in sky above Japanese city, right? Pew! And then earthquake. You know, a lot of people are going to be like, that's HAARP. Or that's the DEW weapons. No, it's not. This stuff happens naturally. Very naturally. So, see, it's coming from everywhere. Oh no, they're shooting us with laser beams everywhere. It's got to be HAARP. No, it's 5G. No, it's, you know, everybody's got these theories, but none of them can be proven. And I'm showing you clear evidence, empirical evidence, that this happens naturally. And that is not a rocket launch. People need to get over that. They keep saying, well, another rocket. And then, like, I was watching Mr. BB, and I'm like, dude, this guy is either, like, working with these people, or he's just not that smart or doesn't want to believe it. Because he's like, and there's another rocket launch, right? And Mr. BB says there's another rocket launch, and it's going across the sky, right? And I'm like, dude, come on. Like, I watched one of his recent videos, and all these people witnessed this light going across the sky, and he was like, it's the Dragon pod coming back into Earth and then exiting. And right, and it's like, come on, logically think of that. You're saying that it's coming into the atmosphere, leaving the atmosphere, and then coming back into the atmosphere. That doesn't make sense. And then he says, I don't know where it landed. It had to have landed somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. And I was like, well, if there's no, like, public news and showing them getting out of this pod and all that, I'm like, either they died and they didn't make it, or that's not what it was, right? Like, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's been a while since I made a video, and, you know, I just wanted to gather up this evidence because, you know, recently there was a video in Florida that showed a lot of lightning coming from the ground. And for a good while, I've been saying that too. I've been saying, you know, one thing I don't mess around with is that lightning. You know, and sure enough, there's lightning coming from the ground up. So, you know, it ain't no joke, man. You know, it's to be taken seriously, and this stuff can kill you. So, you know, and then all the flights have been grounded. And, you know, they're always saying hackers, and they're always saying, oh, why did they do that? Well, you know, the sun has been acting very strangely lately. You know, and it's like, I don't know, time and time again, people are like, no activity on the sun, so there's nothing to worry about. No earthquakes are quiet, right? And then something happens the next day. And then they keep saying that, and they keep lying to themselves. They keep lying to everybody watching. It's like, dude, come on, get real. This is reality, you know? Not everybody can accept reality, though, you know? All kinds of people always just gotta wonder and never accept the truth, and they just always gotta, like, leave it up in the air or believe some kind of bullshit lie. And, well, you know, if you're seeking the truth, so am I. And I can honestly tell you that, you know, I'm trying to give you the best case scenario possible to my ability to give you the actual truth. And I can tell you that the thing that most people are saying, whatever it may be, is what it is, right? Like a lot of people are saying it's HARP. A lot of people are saying it's DEW weapons. When the majority of people have a certain answer, and you can look around or ask anybody, and all these people are saying the same thing, I can guarantee you that that is probably the wrong answer, and that they have all fallen into this lie, and that that's what they want you to believe. It's true. I mean, I'm sorry to say, you know, or burst your bubble, you know. I'm only trying to tell you the truth. If you don't like it, you know, people can move on. You know, because a lot of people don't like the answer. But it is what it is, man. You know, it's a natural thing. And everywhere and everything, all I see is lies. All I see is man. All I see is the devil, whatever you may want to call it. But nobody ever gives credit to the celestial bodies and or the creator and anything of that nature. So I can honestly say that, like, when it comes to, let's say the devil or Lucifer, him and man take the credit of everything. But I can tell you, in the end, when it comes to these weapons or machines that they're using, if they are, it will fail them. And they will have no choice but to let people find out on their own, which people will. And they will bow to their knees, and they will beg it to stop. And it's out of everybody's hands. And all I can tell you is, you know, get good with everything around you and yourself, man. Spend your time wisely. Blessings and strength.